Ready for collage number 3? It's still the same ephemera. I'm still cranking my way through it. I'm looking at how things are falling unconsciously into place. This matches kind of cool with this image of a Chaplin movie. Everything else is very interesting. I don't know. I love this image, so I'm very, very drawn to this. Although the last image I did, I believe it's called The Pursuers of Priscilla, something silly like that. I like this maybe as a focal point, but it's similar to the other image because it's a very vertical looking object. And of course, we have poor King Tut. Nobody has used King Tut yet. And these hands and shucks. So I'm just looking at what I have left. I've so far done 3 collages out of that little pile of ephemera from the first collage, which was runic. Then we had the Pursuers of Priscilla. And I'm coming down to the third. We've done 3, the third collage from this pile. And I'm not entirely sure. I love using the stamps. That's been a lot of fun. I like the Egyptian imagery. Okay, I'm looking at this and this. And the reason I'm looking at this strongly is because I like weaving my collages through each other. As usual, per usual, what we do when we're thinking is we cut. So I'm going to start doing some cutting. I'm going to cut her out because I've decided now I'm going to cut her out and set her free from paper, make a precise cut, and I'm going to do the same with this image also. I like to begin, if I can, although I haven't with previous pieces, to cut something like this out, the negative space, the most detailed space in the middle, cut that out first because there's still some tensile strength of paper surrounding it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Always going slowly, cutting away from your fingers and holding down the image as I cut to avoid any ripping of the paper, and then it should lift out easily like that. Doesn't always happen. X-Acto knives are great for edges like this. You can do a quick cut, and they're wonderful, of course, for these kind of details. Fingertips. This is a statue, so that's makes things a lot easier. Okay, should be able to pull. And when you try to lift, and you can see it's just connected by a tiny corner. I'll come back in and just like make a cut, just pressing down. Also because we have some nice easy edges to cut with this image. I think so anyway. I can easily use my scissors for this. It's not a problem. And I will be coming in with my scissors shortly. I might even be coming in with my scissors for this area on the hands. Sometimes it's just easier for me. I know it's not like that for everybody, but sometimes I prefer it. So I'm going to just do that. It's also easier to get a rounded cut on those fingertips. I have trouble with making rounded cuts with my X-Acto knife. So for something like this, here we have these fingers. I'm going to do the cut here. And another one here. But when it's time to do the fingertips, I come in with my scissors. And I allow the scissors to make that rounded cut. This has turned very delicate now. This is a good magazine. I think it was an Elite magazine. And the tensile strength of the paper is great. It's not a vintage magazine, which vintage magazines, you have great imagery, unique imagery that you don't see every day anymore. But the caveat, it's very delicate. And whenever I work with vintage paper, I always use my scissors. For whatever reason, the X-Acto knife and vintage paper, they don't get along. Little piece there. Now I can probably use my scissors from here on out. Let's see. Super pleased with the way that cut came out. Nice and clean. A really great combination of factors at play. Strong imagery, good ephemera, high quality paper, and a nice sharp blade. So that is that. See, this is another good point about having a lot of ephemera and using the same pieces or the same grouping over and over, because stuff like this happens. It was left over anyway, and you can do something with it. I don't know. Maybe. Then there's this, and I wanted to cut out the right one. Another good cut. Didn't quite get all of the orange background off of this piece. Again, I'm being a little picky here. It's not really going to hurt anything because ideally I'm going to try and weave this image through this one. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. We also had these bars from another piece, and I don't know if I want to use them. They kind of match with the head, the ribbon head. I'm going to call it ribbon head. The image I just cut out. That might be something. I don't know. I'm again trying to figure out maybe what the background is going to be about. Is there a message here? Is there a story? The other pieces had little stories kind of going on. Runic sort of did. Pursuers of Priscilla, definitely. And they're all related because they all came from the same grouping of material. So I don't even have a name for this just yet. The names come to me sometimes at the last minute or like right before I post even. So I'm not sure what the name of this is going to be. Let's see. She needs a background and she needs something more to do. I like this. These flowers. I may have to end up cutting this one out. So in the interim, I'm just going to trim it out. As you all know, I like repeating images within a collage. But yeah, she definitely needs a background. Here we have black and white of the American flag. I don't know if that applies here. Maybe it does. You know, it's only a portion of the flag also, which can be very interesting when you have a cropping going on that can offer a very interesting component to composition. So we have a good background going on amongst, okay, those are mainly face images, but I don't really have anything else I don't believe that will work as a background. Horseshoe, but it's kind of dull, and she needs something colorful, or maybe not, I don't know. I can also play with backgrounds, but I'm going to start playing with how I want her to be interweaved with this image, and if that's going to work even. There was some careful cutting going on to get to this point. And I don't know if we can go any further than this, or can we? I like the way this is looking because there's a lot of movement for both pieces. It almost looks like one of those dancers or athletes in the Olympics that use the banner during their routines. That's kind of what it's reminding me of. Plus, it has the benefit here of having the human face. That's kind of cool. I like that. That came out. That's coming out really nice. It's coming out so nice. I feel like just committing it to the piece. But she needs something else to do. This guy, it's too much. He's going to be too much. Okay, let's keep thinking. Might be one of those minimal collages that I do because I don't really think there's any more that I can do. I can think about it maybe a little bit, only because I think I'm used to having backgrounds today. I've been using backgrounds, and this I feel can benefit from maybe having a Photoshop background. Something that just a plain pastel color. There isn't a ton of color in here, obviously. The colors are kind of muted. I'm okay with the way things are going. I'm just going to go ahead and commit it to some glue, or rather tape. I'm using tape for these collages today. Again, runic, Priscilla's Pursuers of Priscilla, and this one are all from the same batch of ephemera that I chose. And I like the way this one's coming out. I almost feel this is probably the strongest of the collection. And they all came from the same group that I chose. Didn't come from the same sources. I chose from various books, magazines, and stamps. No stamps in this one. And I don't think any vintage in this one. Definitely no any vintage books, anything like that. And do this too. The way this looks. But we have photograph and illustration imagery on this one. I don't really know. I like these purple bars, but they're not, I don't think they're really necessary. I don't really think they're necessary. I can play with backgrounds. I can put it on any type of background I want once I scan it into another program. I wonder if I should put, let's try this. I want to put, I think that looks better. In or out? Fill in. It's nice when these images correspond with each other, where you can do this tucking and it just fits. So I think this is done. I'm going to leave it alone. It's just a nice, simple little collage, and that's what we have going on. I've been collaging all day, though these are 3 separate videos. Runic and Priscilla's Pursuers, this one, I don't know what I'm going to name this one yet. All were done in about a 4 to 6 hour period with the same batch of ephemera. I have to take a break though. So much for the marathon, but I might come back next week and see if I can glean anything from the material I have left over from this one batch that we chose at the very beginning, which was for the video Runic. I'm going to link those videos also in the description so you can follow along if you dare. Let's see what we come up with next week. And again, I thank you for joining me on this collage journey.